in Oklahoma named Solomon Sir Jones. He was able to film a lot of black life during this time in Oklahoma. The riot happened in 1921.
Talking about Black Wall Street.
Yeah, 1921.
According to Solomon Sir Jones's footage, Black Wall Street was built back. And what you see is life as usual. And then you fast forward even to the 1940s, you see the same thing. Successful, happy, well-to-do black folks. There was a past.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's all perspective, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's all how you see your life.
Yeah.
It's all, you can be, it's funny, like when we hear the joy of the Lord is our strength, it's all, you can have joy in the middle of chaos.
Right.
Right. And God wants you to go into chaos and create, right? Create what? True stability. And it only can come from him.
Right.
Right. And that's what a lot of these black citizens were doing at that time.
Yeah. And they were believers, man.
Yeah.
They were in the church.
And there were other things that creeped in, which was communism.
Through civil rights, through these Marxist ideas being brought in. But here's another clip, right? The next following clip.
That killed those black businesses, the thing that broke down those black families, contrary to your narrative, is not this white Southern redneck racism. The breakdown came much later, in the 60s, as a result of a mindset shift, which took place under this progressive idea of civil rights. That's displayed in the difference between the way J.H. Jackson preached versus the way that Martin Luther King preached. When J.H. Jackson said that we are called as Christians to be men.
If you're not going to be men, braid your hair and start wearing step-ins.
That can be dated.
Is that a real footage of the church? Like, how many people?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It back, as far as black America goes, to Booker T. Washington, which black men has been doing ever since. What Martin Luther King does is he comes along and says, no, no, no. Our manhood depends on our circumstances.
We haven't been able to be people. We haven't been men because of all of the conditions that we've lived with and the syndrome of deprivation surrounding conditions, whether it's in housing, in the economic area.
What does this sound like?
And the vicious credit practices that we face in the ghetto and all of the problems of closed doors and constant defeats.
X, Y, and Z has to happen before we can be men. And so you begin to see this shift in mindset. Black men move from being proud providers to entitled whiners. That's
so if I look at my life right now, there are things that I have to struggle through, work through. I think if any of us look at our lives, we're gonna have things that we know we have to overcome, right? You can look at that and say, if I didn't have strength that came from the Lord, somebody could speak to my life and could point to these things and point to these weaknesses within me and say, this isn't fair, that's not right, and then point to the one who is responsible for it, which is
in our mind,
which is actually a lie because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, right? But it's causing me to change my mindset. That's what he's saying. So you can do this with anybody, right? You can talk to people and just see where their weaknesses are, see where they're lacking, and then you can bring that back to them, bring it up to them, and then say, well, this is because of this, and this is because of this, and this is because of that. And I think this is what you see with when just that little clip, when you listen to the way Martin Luther King is speaking, it's not biblical.
Yeah.
There's nothing biblical about that. Right? Because no matter what circumstance we're in, why is Paul talking to the slave and saying, obey your master? Because it's not about where you are now. It's about where you are now in Christ, right? It's not where you are physically.
Right.
It's about where you are in your mind and your heart, right? That's what you have to go to, a different place, right? In the spirit. Your heart, your soul has to be seated in Christ Jesus with your spirit, right? And that's what has to change. But if they can get your soul to be seated somewhere else, that's when you become a victim. And they're literally talking you in to your soul being put back in chains and being put back in bondage.
Back in bondage, yep.
That's crazy.
Isn't that what like pimps do and like very manipulative men when they want to get a woman to like leave their man or leave their husband? Like they start pointing out all the flaws and they tell them all the things they want to hear to make it seem like they have all the answers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. All right, let's keep going on this.
The truth about Jesse Jackson. That's the truth about Al Sharpton. That's the truth about Roland Martin. That's the truth about fill in the blank.
Because to be black is to walk through the world and watch people doing things that you cannot do.
Black men are now known as professional whiners in this country, where our making it depends on what you are willing to do for us versus what our fathers and great-grandfathers did in terms of what am I willing to do for myself and for my family in spite of my circumstances.
And that's a such a beautiful thing that we can enter into with Christ. Despite my circumstances, there can be beauty there that inspires so many people around me, right? Because people are going to look like, wow, look at what happened. Look at what they did. Look at
what they built.
You know,
yeah.
That's what's beautiful about what God can do in our lives. And you won't see it. You won't see that beauty if you're looking to the ugly. Like, and then that's what's that's the epidemic that I think causes black men to become isolated. You can't talk to other black men because it's superficial. There's pride, arrogance, right? So everything is surface level.
Yeah.
So now when you're actually dealing with things, you have to keep it to yourself. So now isolation comes in.
I think that's men in general.
Well, yeah.
The pressure of society.
Yeah.
It's men in general. I think that's the attack on men in general. But I'm saying black men because I think that they're suffering from it at epidemic rates.
And it's a particular version of it that hits at the core of insecurities and traumas from the, has been systemic oppression and racism in this country.
So it's easy to point to.
Yeah, exactly. There's you can remember seeing videos of Rodney King being beat. You can see, there's things you can point to that have caused the trauma that you can then use as your reason for everything. So that's a particular thing, all right, let's keep going, Mom.
Uncle Tom.
Well, salvation
You
is
can't
free, son.
brainwash me.
Jesus said, first ye seek the kingdom of heaven, and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added.
Heaven is on earth, mind you, brother.
Where you gonna go when we start revolution? Whose side are you gonna be on? Are you still gonna be on your knees?
I will die standing up for God, regardless of any circumstance.
Okay. Have God ever told you to let this white man rule you like he is?
Well, young man, you first must be born again. God is a
I ain't
spirit.
born again.
Man, that talking back then, you foist must be born again. Like that accent has died. Like where did that go? That was a thing.
That's crazy.
But it's interesting. Like even back then, the young black men, the youth, were rebelling.
Well, that was the 60s.
Yeah, it's the 60s. So there was like this uproaring, this rebellion rising.
Yeah, he's talking about revolution.
Yeah, talking about Marxism. They're being indoctrinated into
Marxist
Marxism
ideas.
And where are you going to be when we start our revolution? It's now 2025. Where did this revolution go?
Yeah.
But it's interesting that this man, but it's funny because you could tell like he's trying to give them that he's standing on Christ, but he still doesn't have the tools to break through to them because they can just look at what he's saying as, oh, you're indoctrinated, even though they're the ones indoctrinated. But he doesn't have
it's again Second Corinthians 10. The weapons of our warfare.
Yes,
they're not carnal, right? They're spiritual. You have to be able to deal with these arguments, and only God can help you in that way.
Right.
Again, I ain't got to be born again. See, I was born in a new generation. Your mother could have brainwashed you, but can't nobody brainwash me. I'm ready. It's gonna take young boys like us to win the revolution.
These young people are saying that there must be a revolution of values in our country. Many of the values of so-called white middle-class society are values that need to be reviewed and re-evaluated, and in a real sense, they need to be changed. So I think the young people in the Negro community who are raising these questions are raising some very profound questions about our total society. In other words, they are saying that there must be a restructuring of the architecture of our society where values are concerned.
Okay, so I've always said that Martin Luther King was a departure from the way that black pastors, by and large, used to preach. They used to preach repentance, that you must be born again, that you must take up your cross and follow Christ. Since King was a Marxist, he bastardized the role of the minister by using the kind of garb of a Christian minister, not to preach the gospel, but to push Marxism, to push revolution. It used to be the case that many black youth had actual respect for their pastors. They had admiration for their pastors. In a kind of roundabout way, King emboldened the youth to talk down to their pastors and their elders. We talk more about this in the MLK Project, which is a docuseries that streams tonight. In fact, it streams right now. Comment SZN1, season 1, all one word.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Like, how you saw that reverence change for the pastor, and especially like looking through the 70s and then the rise of Malcolm X as well. This just kind of fueled that fire of like not respecting your elders. They don't know, we know better than them. They're indoctrinated, they're fools.
Yeah.
And we don't need to worship this white man's Jesus anymore. We're gonna
Islam rose up in black communities in the 60s also.
Yeah, and you saw this departure from the values that was prime for the taking for Lyndon B. Johnson to introduce these governmental fixes to the community that was going to make them dependent on the government, because they're already rejecting their fathers at this point. They're rejecting Christ.
Yeah. I mean, as human beings, we want to look to someone to free us.
Right.
For justice. The problem is no human can give it to you.
Yeah.
No government can give it to you.
Yeah. We're all looking for
justice. It's a
justice.
shame that those kids, you could tell that they don't have any kind of understanding.
Yeah.
Because when he said, you must be born again, they didn't understand it. It reminds me of Nicodemus when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, do I have to go back in my mother's womb? But these kids were like, well, I'm not have to go born
I've already
again.
been born.
Exactly.
I'm born into the new
You know?
generation.
And
Yeah.
It's sad because you could tell their parents didn't teach them anything.
And I look at that and I look at, because you know I done a lot of talking to the Move family from Philadelphia, and when you go back and watch a lot of their clips from like the mid 70s and early 80s, they sounded just like them boys. You know, the revolution, talking about the revolution, talking about but theirs was John Africa. John Africa gave us the teachings, you know, but it was a departure from Christianity, departure from the white man's world, the white man's government, the white man's this, you know, because systemic oppression and all of this.
Yeah.
So you see these ideas, and that their lifestyle was more of a communist, like a small version commune kind of vibe, where they all kind of took care of each other, homeschooled, you know, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that definitely had a stronghold in the black community through people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. They were really were able to infiltrate and push that ideology.
Yep. And if you look at even like what's it called? The Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
Right. There were a lot of people like came together and built their own schools.
Yeah.
There were some good values there, but again, like if the core thing is focused at injustice, it's off. It's gonna be off, because where are you gonna get your fuel from to continue in that way? It's gonna become corrupt eventually, because if you're looking to injustice, eventually that same injustice will come into this. And you see with Elijah Muhammad and how all the stuff he was doing, and he's preaching all this injustice, but he brought injustice right into what was called the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
You know, and Elijah Muhammad brought it right in there.
The honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yeah.
And you see these type of things over and over again in those, I'll say cultish, because to me it's cultish.
Right.
I think communism is cultish at its root. This is why you can kill millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's cultish.
Well, look at most of the communist little, what do they call them? Why can't I think of the word for it when they all create these communities?
Commune?
That's not the word, but like the Rajneeshis, for example. Like you watch that documentary Wild Country on Netflix. Like,
they called it a commune.
it's a cult.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that was literally a cult. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like, you base these things on false things, right? You're coming together in falsity. So now you have to stay in falsity. And the more you do that, the more you separate yourself from the truth. But you're in communion in a lie, right? And that eats at the inside of the whole thing, at the inside of the commune.
Isn't that interesting? Like those, just the terminology of all of that, the inversion of communion, and like,
it's crazy, right?
yeah, like we're supposed to be in communion with Christ, and
Yeah.
we even do the ritual of communion,
Yeah.
to refocus us in that way.
Yeah.
But
Take
there's
this
that
bread, yeah.
inversion that says no, we're in communion with what was the terminology you just used? Injustice. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're coming. We're trying to combat injustice by being in
Yeah.
communion with each other over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it never works.
Never works.
So again, what are you feeding yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you look at that in terms of the communion, like you're feeding yourself this
Yeah.
this tainted body.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This tainted life, this tainted blood.
Right.
And you're expecting that to give you strength.
Mm.
But it's giving you demonic strength.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's feeding you in the wrong way. But
Mm.
there's never gonna be real joy there.
Yeah.
So you're always gonna see this perpetual like anger and vitriol. It's
steroids. All right, let's play this next one.
Yeah.
He's so brash, but I have to call a thing. When you look at black culture, who leads it? Women. That's actually a curse. That's not a blessing. That's
This
a
is
curse.
crazy.
In the Bible, in Isaiah, it talks about how you will be persecuted by children. What's going on in the inner cities? Who are the gangs made up mostly of? Children. And women will lead you. It's not a blessing, that's a curse. Meanwhile, Roland Martin's walking around with a shirt that says vote like a black woman. That's crazy to me.
But he's looking at black men on his iPad getting caught. So he's acting like a black woman too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A black
he wants to
perverted
be.
woman.
Yeah.
He wants to be a black woman.
Yeah. And we just show that's Ketanji Brown Jackson. Like that, these are the black women that are leading.
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett, Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
You know, if you consider her black.
Maxine.
They will
Maxine
Water. What's her name?
Maxine Waters. Yeah.
they will tear apart a true image of a man.
Yeah.
They will tear you down.
Well, listen to what that one girl said about Stephen A. Smith because he disagreed.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Wearing a shirt that says vote like a black woman. Look, you dummy. The reason why black women vote predominantly for a party and for a philosophy that promises handouts, that promises to take care of you, that promises to be your big brother, is because they can't depend on the men in their home. And so it's because you fell asleep at the gate that your women feel that they must now vote for a politician to take care of them.
You ain't done more for black people than LBJ did, than Bill Clinton did, than FDR did.
For you, a grown man, to wear a shirt that says vote like a black woman is like saying I don't want to be a man. I don't want to take responsibility and rise to the occasion. I want for the government to take care of me. That's what you're saying when you wear a shirt that says vote like a black woman, who doesn't feel protected, who doesn't feel like her man can take care of her and of the family. That's what you are saying when you say vote like a black woman. The nerve of you. Sorry to be so.
It's kind of crazy.
That's very crazy. And I never looked at that curse where it says you'll be oppressed by children and led by women.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I never put that together.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And when I was in DC, Jess's friend actually talked about the people that committed most of the crime were the teenagers.
Yeah.
And you know, he's there.
Yeah.
And he sees it.
He sees
because
it,
they arrest the same people all the time and they just let them go.
A lot of them are like 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds.
Boy, I will
Carjacking.
I will whoop.
Yeah.
I will whoop some butt.
How did DC go on Saturday, by the way?
Oh, I never went.
Oh, okay.
Because it wasn't organized
Oh,
to the liking of.
it seemed a little disorganized.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and plus, where we were going to stay there, they had family coming in from like India or whatever like that. So we didn't want to, kind of infringe on their privacy.
Makes sense.
So it didn't work out.
All right. Well, do you want to start on these?
You want to save it?
We can save it.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
It's
it goes
a whole-
with this, but
it
it's a
goes with
whole
it,
other
but yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
this was good though. This was
Yeah.
like a good.
Yeah, I'll say I want to explain this. I was kind of talking to Jamie about this, and it's connected to being ruled over by women.
Yeah.
And, if you think about communism, Marxism, they're just tools that are used, demonic tools, and you see why they're used. Men are meant to be the leaders, and that's not a bad thing, right? This is the order of God, right? When we go against the order of God, we have chaos, right?
Yeah.
Simple. Order, chaos. So demonically, there have to be ideas to cause division. It's the first thing that's going to happen. People are going to speak to women to be able to destroy the men that they honor and respect. That's going to be the first thing.
Yeah.
That's what communism does. You're going to speak to the women to get them separated from their men. And I said this earlier, to get them caught up in certainty and not trust anymore. Right? Once you have that happen, those women will do the job of the next generation of men growing up.
Right.
To cause them to be insecure in their identity and have no clue who they are. So then those boys that grow up under the tutelage of those women who have accepted these ideologies and have rejected those men who were their covering are now going to raise up men that are in their own perverted image. And those men are going to grow up in their own chaos and have confusion, delusion, feel isolated.
Yeah.
Right. And they're going to have depression.
Yeah.
They're not going to know how they fit in the world.
And then that just spawns another generation. It just continues to spiral downward.
It continues to spiral in chaos, more chaos.
And we were going to get into was this whole conversation that Kirk Franklin had with Jonathan Majors, NLE Chopper, who's a rapper. Ray J was there. And it's just a whole bunch of trauma talk and a whole bunch of like not being able to communicate and not being able to deal with their emotions and really feeling like they have no outlet, and even like debating over the Bible and stuff like that. We were going to tie that into this, but we'll get into that next time because that can be a whole topic within itself. But it does tie into what we're saying, where this half a century of fatherlessness and like this whole Marxist system being brought into
being accepted in.
It has created a lot of what we're dealing with now, especially in the Black culture.
And it's demonic at the core because it literally is designed. It's a demonic design for men to bring in chaos and uproot people from God.
Yeah.
And it's so like when you see it, it becomes so obvious. You know, when you actually can see systematically how it happened,
I honestly believe that like it was by design, because when you look at the trajectory of Black people and how much of strong families they were and how much they were heavy into the church and they were like their faith was so strong, like there was a huge potential for God to use them in a major way. And he still will, I believe, to use Black culture in a major way.
And if you look at how communism comes in, it always goes to the weakest places.
Right.
It's looking for the weaknesses. Where are the weaknesses? Because those are the places where you can easily show people injustice.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this is happening because this. This is happening because it's easy to show that, right?
Right.
And get people off of the focus of truth, of life, right? Of joy, of love your neighbor, of love your enemies, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
All those things. And holding those things as standards in your life, right? And it goes back to, what is it? Hard times. You know that?
Hard times create strong men create good times. Good times create weak men.
Yeah, I would say that more than that, if you trust in the Lord, there's always going to be, he's going to lead you into hard things, right? It's like Jacob wrestling with the angel. And his name was changed to Israel. What does that mean? To wrestle with God, to roll with God.
Yeah.
And wrestling, I was talking to Mom about this. Like when you wrestle with when a father wrestles with their son, you don't want to overpower them to the point where they just give up.
Yeah.
You want to overpower them to the point where they think maybe they can go a little further,
right.
And you encourage them. Come on, let's go. You can do it.
Like, one of the early Jordan Peterson videos was about him explaining that dynamic, even in animals. They even understand that. Like when they wrestle with their young, they have to do it to a point where they don't go too far,
right?
Or else they'll stop engaging with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're always gonna. The thing about hard times is actually not that hard.
Yeah.
If you have the right perspective, right? And I think that's the key. Is we're always looking to God for that perspective. But when we think it's too hard, that's when we quit.
Yeah. Or when we take in these other ideas, we get seduced into these other ways of doing things, and we stop following God.
And a kid won't wrestle with his father if he doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
I think that's like the key. You know,
Yeah.
you won't wrestle with
Right.
your dad,
Right.
so you're not even gonna get in there and wrestle, and that's where we lose as men.